All right. Woohoo. All right, what's up? Hey guys, how's it going?
Hi, welcome back.
Yeah. Okay, so something that we've been wanting to do is kind of like a military series. As you guys know from the pictures and the previous videos, is that Davina and I were in the
The military
military
for 20
for 20
years.
years, actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this I have a few days left in my military career,
Mm-hmm.
and we thought that it would be a great idea to kind of look back and reminisce on how we got to this point, right? So, 21 years being in the military,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
So I guess we'll just start at the beginning, how and why we joined the service.
yeah, we have a little treat actually. What we want to do is add like a flashback, right? Because of how this whole thing even started,
Mm-hmm.
right? So the beginning, why and how. Well, I'll tell you what. Uh, I culturally, right, I'm Filipino, born and raised in Philippines until I was 11 years old. My whole family migrated to the United States, right? My father filed for residency for my entire family to migrate, and well, the government allowed us to move here, and that was like years. That was in the 90s. That was mid 90s. But if if you know anyone that's Filipino, you can ask them this. But Filipino parents, and my mom was guilty of that too, is that they really love the Navy, right? Um, so in the Filipino culture, you're either in the medical field, so that's why there's a lot of nurses,
Mm-hmm.
Filipino nurses. You are in the engineering field, or you are in the military, right? So the Philippine Islands is surrounded by water, and during the World War II, the military was in Philippines, and that's how we kind of got introduced to it. And so, yeah, my mom wanted me to join the Navy. Unfortunately, the Navy, actually, fortunately, the Navy didn't want me. So, too bad, too sad, right? But we did talk to them.
Yeah.
Um,
More on that later.
yeah, more on that later. So, oh, it's right here. So another reason was I was like, man, I didn't know what to do with my life. Honestly, I was kind of like starting to hang out with the wrong crowd. I was working full time, and even like me being a junior in high school, I was already working full time because my family had to scrounge up enough money together so we could make ends meet. Uh, so college definitely was not an option for me. Was it an option for you?
No, but
No.
yeah, no, college was never an option.
So, so yeah, it was kind of like my mom wanted me to join, and then I didn't have anything else, and I didn't want to work at a gas station for the rest of my life. So,
Yeah, something else that happened around that time was 9/11.
mm-hmm.
So it was in our junior year. It was 2001 when we joined. And so some of the reasons I joined was because my brother he was in basic training when I joined. And he was actually at Fort Benning, and I remember he would call home and we would hear him on the phone, and we all would like kind of like crowd around the phone and listen to my brother, and he would talk to us. We didn't get to talk to him for very long. It was like maybe 5 minutes max. But I had a brother who had already joined the service, and so joining the service wasn't that hard for me because I already had a family member in. And then college definitely wasn't an option for me. Like in my household, in my family, nobody talked to me about college. As a matter of fact, I knew that my older brother went to college, but it was a lot of money. And I knew that I didn't have that kind of money and that nobody was going to pay for my college. So,
Yeah, but you're pretty smart actually. I mean, you moved from another school to, Indio High School, right?
Yeah, I was actually really smart. I used to,
What number were you in?
well, when I graduated, I was like number 28 or
But
something.
previously in the previous,
In the previous school, I was like 14.
yeah,
Yeah,
14. So from 14 to 28 in a class of what,
hundreds. Yeah,
300?
yeah.
Was it 300,
Yeah,
400
I
class?
was pretty intelligent. And
You still are.
thanks. Yeah, so the money wasn't there, and culturally, in my culture, it was just you just kind of like work a regular job, and like you just be a wife and have kids. That's pretty much it. Like that's all I kind of like knew, and so going to the military was actually like my meal ticket. It was my way of getting out of where I was.
Yeah.
So how did the conversation start about you and I joining the military?
Well, I mean, I already said that my mom wanted me to join the Navy, right? So
Yeah.
the big event that happened in 2001 was in September, right? So September
September 11th.
11th, 2001, right? Twin Towers fell. And do you remember what you were doing when that happened?
Yes.
The entire school pretty much stopped.
We were all watching the television.
Yes.
And honestly, when I was 17, I didn't understand the magnitude of what was happening in New York. Like I knew we were all watching TV and something had happened, but I didn't understand like the magnitude of it all.
Right. It wasn't something that was explained, right? So the whole school stopped pretty much, like every TV screen in the
We were all
entire school,
watching.
and we were watching what was transpiring as it was transpiring in front of us. But nobody explained, none of the teachers saying, hey, this is the importance of this and
Right.
why it's happening. All it was is just they stopped classroom instructions, and um, they had us watch what was happening, and we can see smokes going up and the twin towers, and everyone was just watching in awe. Honestly, I was 17. I was kind of confused at that time. Like you said, I didn't really understand how big of an impact that was at that age. But now I understand.
Yeah.
I mean, that's basically our how the conflict started, right? War on terrorism.
Yeah.
And so immediately after that, right, um, we took the test, the ASVAB test.
Well, before we even, so just so you guys know, give you some background. He and I, we are husband and wife, and we were high school sweethearts. So he's my boyfriend, and
At the time.
at the time, I think I was only like dating you for a few months at that point. I think we started dating in March, and we joined in December. So by the end of the year,
Right.
we
So 2001 February, I think, was when you transferred to the school, and in
Yes.
March.
So, with so what ended up happening is he and I are in the car together, and we've been dating for a little bit, and he turns to me and he says,
I said, so what are you planning to do after high school?
and at the exact moment when he asked, we were on the 111, headed towards his mom's house, so headed towards Indio, and we were right next to the Stater Brothers. And if anybody lives in Indio, you know that Stater Brothers has the recruiter station right in that shopping center. And
Right.
so I'm looking out the window, and at the moment he asked me that question, I saw the recruiter station. I said, I don't know about you, man, but I'm joining the military.
And it just so happens that, Filipinos in the military. So yeah, I was like, all right, let's do it. Let's join.
Well, he said, well, my mom's always wanted me to be in the Navy, so let's join together.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. Well, little secret, I actually said it like half-heartedly. I didn't even really mean it. I had zero intent with what I said. But then here we were, boyfriend and girlfriend, and we were going recruiter to recruiter, like we were shopping for shoes.
Yeah, exactly what it was. I think the first one that we went to, right, because my mom uh, kind of pushed me towards the Navy, so it was the first visit, right? The first visit was the Navy.
Right.
And we saw them. The Navy wasn't really interested. You know, they didn't really want us.
Well, they weren't. I don't know. Maybe
they
they had
weren't.
their numbers or something because, well, first of all, we hadn't taken the ASVAB yet.
Right, yeah.
And so we were just kind of going around. We didn't know what to do, how to join.
Or how to go about it. We were just kind of just like, all right, well, let's go over there at the recruiters and let's go how things go. You know, let's go check it out. And so we did. We went to the Navy. Not really interested in us. The Marines were like, yeah, we'll take you.
Yeah,
we'll
they
take
wanted
you.
us right away.
Yeah, we'll take you.
They were getting our
Yeah,
numbers.
Right, right. And then the the Army was the last one we visited.
Yeah, well, we went to the Air Force, but the Air Force was okay. They were like, take our information. But they really said we had to take the ASVAB before we could come back.
Right.
The Army, on the other hand.
Oh, man, this recruiter was good. He's like, hey, man, this is my number right here.
It was the same recruiter that recruited my brother.
Yeah, his name was Sergeant Hernandez.
Sergeant Hernandez,
this guy was good. I mean, he pretty much picked my MOS for me.
Yeah, he was great. And so he had recruited my brother, and so here we are, possible recruits, and
the thing is, we wanted to join the military together.
Yeah, we wanted to join.
So we wanted to join the military together.
Point, yeah.
And he was like, yeah, there's this thing. It's called the buddy program.
Oh, the buddy system.
And the buddy system, and you guys get to follow each other. All right.
Oh, yeah. We get to be at the same base.
Right. We get to be in the same base.
Like the permanent party station.
Right. So
something.
he was walking us through the process. He was saying, okay, well, you know what? Why don't you guys take the test, and then we'll figure out how things go. And so we took the test, right?
Yeah. I'll tell you, the day we took the test, I mean, okay, in high school, I was a really smart student. I treated high school like it was college, and I would go to school like on certain days, and I would do all my work, and I could get it all done. And so, once we started going to the recruiter and we started realizing that we need to graduate on time, we really kicked it into gear and started going to school every day and started like pushing all our efforts towards graduation because this was our meal ticket. Like this was our way out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So took the test. I can't remember my score, but I know I made it for the military.
Yeah,
right?
well, I do remember sitting next to him during the ASVAB, and I remember like reading it, and I was like, I didn't know what a Phillips screwdriver was. Like, there's just, I was really good at all the math questions, but when it came to mechanical stuff, like I had no idea what.
Right, some of the questions on there, it's like, hey, so which screwdriver should you use? Or this pulley is going in this direction.
Yeah.
Right? What is that pulley going to turn?
Right.
It was definitely an interesting test.
Right?
So I don't know if I scored a 31 or a 43. Okay.
Yeah,
but it was definitely below the standards for the Air Force. So couldn't join the Air Force. Navy didn't want us. Marines wanted us.
Marines still wanted us.
Yeah, Marines still wanted us.
Yeah.
But since the guy from the Army, right, Sergeant Hernandez, was very helpful.
We went with him.
We went with him. He was so helpful that we went with him.
Well, I got a 51 on the ASVAB, and I could join the Air Force, but only by 1 point because you have to have 50 points to join the Air Force. So I could barely join the Air Force. And since he couldn't join the Air Force, I wasn't going to go to the Air Force. I was going wherever he could join. So either we were joining the Marines or we were joining the Army. And I definitely felt like there were more girls in the Army. So I wanted to go to the Army.
Yeah. So we selected the Army, and we were kind of just like all in we had to take a physical PT test at that time.
Yeah.
Now it's the Army Combat Fitness Test, also
Right.
known as the ACFT. But before it was the APFT, Army Physical APFT Fitness Test, Army Physical Fitness Test,
Yeah.
which was only 3 events. Now it's 6 events. But anyways, it
So
was interesting.
when we joined, like, talk about like the different jobs that were available to you versus.
When I wanted, because of what was happening, right? So the recruiter pretty much prepped us like, hey, I just want to let you guys know, if you guys join right now, you guys are going to go to war.
Yeah, we knew
right?
we
I
were
mean,
going to
we
war.
already knew we were going to go to war. We were going to go to combat.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, put me in, coach. I mean, I want to be in the infantry, right? I mean, that's all you hear about, right? Nobody else hears about all these other jobs that you can take, right? Everyone knows about the infantry, the shooting, the guns, and all those things. So I wanted to join the infantry, right? But Sergeant Hernandez had a very good heart. It's either he had a very good heart or he had a quota to meet. But either way,
Yeah.
it was definitely to used it, right? And so I said, I want to go to the infantry. And he was like, well, no, it's not a good idea. You're going to be in the front lines. I was like, well, I want to be in the front lines. No, 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 no. Okay, you guys are good kids, right? You guys will be good, right? You got to think about your relationship. You got to think about coming back from the war, right? So I said, well, all right, well, I don't know what else to do, right? So he says, well, let's go to MAPS, right? Let's go to MAPS and see what you qualify for, right?
Right.
And so that's what it was, is like you go to MAPS. So you take the PT test, you go to MAPS. When you're there, once you pass all the physical exam, based off of, whether you pass, you pick the jobs and the 3 locations that you want to go to, right? So the job and the 3 locations you want to go to was selected at MAPS.
Yeah, it was.
What about you? How did you already know what job you wanted to go to
No,
before?
you know what? Sergeant Hernandez helped me pick my job too. Like, he just straight up, he's like, you're smart. You should work on computers. And so he put me into, like, he told me that I was going to be in a truck with AC, and that sounded good to me because computers need air conditioning. And so I became a 25 uniform,
Which is?
which was a specialist. I don't know. I don't even remember. Oh my God. A combat communications specialist. I don't know. Then I got, I don't even want to talk about it. But yeah, they say 25 uniform, 25 useless. But I say 25 universal. Like.
So anyways, we took the ASVAB, we passed it, we got our scores, we notified, hey, Sergeant Hernandez, let's go. And then so we went to MEPS,